from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Hey guys, I'm Pete Sanchez, and you're listening to Talking Catholic. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're coming to you from the vault. Mike Walsh is here with me, as always.
Yeah.
Mike, we are in Holy Week.
Yes, we are, right smack dab in the very beginning of it.
Yes, we were on Wednesday. What we actually celebrated was a beautiful Chrism Mass yesterday. In Blackwood, you and I were there. And with the priests and with Bishop Sullivan consecrating the oils to be used throughout the various sacraments in this next year.
Yeah. If you didn't get a chance to see it, or you've never been to a Chrism Mass, I recommend you go to the Diocese of Camden's Facebook Live account and check out our Facebook Live broadcast, where we put the entire thing up. It was a 4-camera, first time we've ever done a 4-camera live stream of the entire Chrism Mass, which I think a lot of people don't really know much about it, but it's basically where the holy oils that are going to be used for that year are blessed by Bishop Sullivan. And it's a beautiful procession of all the oils coming in, and I'm always waiting. These giant vases of them, and I'm always worried that a deacon's going to slip and that vase is going to hit the ground. That's always my biggest worry, because they're enormous vases filled with oil. But there were no slippages yesterday, and then it's basically it's not a mass for the priest, but sort of not literally, but it becomes that because it's all the priests attend from the diocese. And Bishop Sullivan, it's usually held on Holy Thursday, which is when it's often considered the priesthood was established, which is why it's a mass for the priests. We do it on Tuesday because the diocese is so large that priests can't come in to the cathedral or wherever we're having it held and then make it back to their parishes in time by Holy Thursday Mass. So we do it on Tuesdays. But it's this Mass that also includes a portion for the priests, where it's an opportunity for the bishop to talk directly to the entire assembly of priests. And yesterday's Mass was beautiful. His homily was, I thought, wonderful, very unique. In the sense that, he gave Father Romano great praise in the middle of it, who, now the knowledge is out there that Father Romano is soon to depart us for the Vatican, not for the Vatican, but for Rome and the North American College there, where he'll be the director of admissions. We'll miss our semi-frequent or almost never frequent, but often invited guest on the podcast. But Bishop also did something that I thought was really unique. This has been a year that's been tainted by the scandals more than many years prior. And, he talked about it, and they also talked about how it had vexed him, as someone who was going through this, and the stress was great, and it caused him great pain. Everything that he and the diocese had to do to, begin moving forward in a way to help those survivors. And it was causing him great pain, not because he didn't want to help the survivors, but because the knowledge of what had happened before and how these survivors were not, and victims were not, properly reached out to and done in a proper Catholic way. And that caused him great pain to have to live through it all again, obviously. And he said that great pain caused him to be angry and irritated, and sometimes he would take that out on the people closest to him, which included the Vicar General, the Chancellor, his priest secretary and head of vocations, and the Vicar for clergy. And he apologized to them in the middle of their homily for at times having lost his cool and taken out that stress on them. And I thought, if nothing else, I thought that was great modeling. I think there are times when we can all learn from that. I don't plan to learn from it anytime soon. So if any of my employees are listening to this, I'm not going to be kind anytime in the near future, but someday when I'm older and more, and I think of things better, I will definitely apologize in the future. If any of you are still living. So
I thought it was hysterical. It was funny. I mean, it was a very good homily. And I thought, the bishop, he did say, pray for me, pray that I'm a kind and wise shepherd.
Mm-hmm. Which he is.
He is. There was that moment of levity with Father Romano where he said, don't write that book until
Until after he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And I was just thinking about you, Mike. I'm taking notes, so be careful.
I got news for you, Pete. The book I write on you is going to be worse than anything you're going to write on me. Don't you worry about it, because I have 116 episodes to go back to and literally pull sound bites from.
My God.
Remember that time
no.
Pete said this? Remember that time Pete said this? Remember that time Pete said this?
We're going to need a bigger vault, Mike.
Yeah. If you want to keep all the secrets in here, I guess we are. But anyway, so that was yesterday. But what's coming up in the semi-near future?
Well, we got the Holy Week, of course. We got the Holy Thursday coming up tomorrow, Good Friday on Friday in Easter Sunday. And then coming up...
well, actually, I guess we can talk about it. Bishop will be at St. Catherine Drexel on... Oh, where's he? Thursday night for Holy Thursday. That's at 7 o'clock. Actually, since I'll be attending, it's all on my calendars. So why don't I pull the calendar up on my phone, and I could actually tell you exactly when and where. So
I know he's at Christ Our Light in Cherry Hill one of the week.
Yes. Well, hold on. Let's go in order. So Holy Thursday with the bishop at 7 o'clock at St. Catherine Drexel in Egg Harbor Township or Absecon, depending on how you want to define where that place is located. The Good Friday service is at 3 o'clock at St. Joe's Pro Cathedral in Camden. It's always nice to stop by the Pro Cathedral, so that'll be there at 3 o'clock. And then the Easter Vigil Mass is on Saturday, April 20th at Christ Our Light Church at 8 p.m. Always one of my favorite masses of the year. Long mass, so be prepared to do a lot of standing, a lot of sitting, some kneeling, but usually about 2 hours long, but gorgeous. And then he'll be doing Easter Sunday Mass at Blessed Teresa or St. Teresa of Calcutta Parish in Collingswood at I think 9:30 a.m.
I would just that's awesome, Mike.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be. Then I'll be at all of them. So if you see me, say hi, and then say, Mike, go home and take a nap.
Yeah. Well deserved after all this week. I'd just like to give a shout out thanks to my pastor. I told him I wanted the lector. And of course, the first lector I'm doing is the Easter Vigil at 8 p.m. So I'm excited about that. That'll be fun. I've been to a few Easter Vigils in my time, and they're always, I love how it starts in darkness. Mm-hmm. The whole church is just dark, and then you see the light with the former candles and the light of Christ breaking the darkness. I love that imagery. I mean, this is why I love my faith for days like the Easter Vigil. Easter Sunday, Christ is risen. Hallelujah, Mike.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. And say hi to Mike. And then Saturday, April 27th, I will be, join me and the whole group of other people coming out for the Way of St. James on the Road of Life. It's going to be a walk it's inspired by the El Camino de Santiago, the Way of St. James. This is going to be going to start at morning prayer with St. James Church in Vintner at 9 a.m., Saturday, April 27th. Then shortly after, a pilgrimage walk to Blessed Sacrament Church in Margate. We're then following Eucharistic adoration meditation, and then a walk back to Vintner at 10:30, the Mass at 11:30, and lunch at 12:30. So this is going to be 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., beginning at St. James Church, 6415 Atlantic Avenue in Vintner. This is going to be a day of spiritual exercise and walking to celebrate and support the health and well-being of all parents and grandparents. So come on out, say hello. To register or for additional contact info, contact Ann Perillo at 856-583-6121. And this is sponsored by the Vitality Catholic Healthcare Services in cooperation with Holy Trinity Parish. Again, Saturday, April 27th, 9 to 1:30 p.m. The registration is from 8 to 8:45 a.m. at St. James Church. And Vintner, pray for a wonderful day. And then that next day, that same weekend, Sunday, April 28th at 10 a.m., there will be an Autism Awareness Mass, because this month is Autism Awareness Month of April. There'll be a celebration celebrated at St. Teresa of Calcutta Parish, Holy Savior Church, 50 Emerald Avenue in Haddon Township, and Father Hugh Bradley will be the celebrant. So all are welcome. There'll be a reception with light refreshments. following the 10 a.m. celebration, and Holy Savior and McDade Hall are fully accessible. And so for more info on autism awareness, you can contact the National Catholic Partnership on Disabilities. Their website is www.ncpd.org. And this is sponsored by the Diocese of Camden's Vitality, Catholic Health Care Services, and the Diocese of Camden, and the Diocese of Camden's ministry of those with disabilities. Then that same day, I'm very excited to attend this, the 28th Annual Afternoon of Jazz Plus, which is sponsored by the Diocese of Camden's Black Catholic Ministries and Cultural Diversity. It is going to be a day of fun, fellowship, dinner, and dancing to the renowned sounds of To the Max. And Aledo caters 1849 Cooper Street in Almanesson, New Jersey, from 2 to 7 p.m. The cost is $50 per person, and this is the best part. The funds go to the Black Catholic Ministry Scholarship Fund to help students and education. So come on out. You get good music, and you're helping the future Catholic Church. You're helping youth. Always a good thing. For more information, contact Joanne DeGennaro at 856-583-2904 or the chairperson Lisa Scott Coley at 856-313-7443. Again, this is the Afternoon of Jazz at Aledo Caters in Almanesson, April 28th, Sunday, 2 to 7 p.m. And then we're excited, Mike. You know, this we talked a bit about the Easter Vigil. There will be, and the oils that Bishop consecrated yesterday, some of them will be used at the Easter Vigil for the catechumens, those individuals entering the Catholic Church who spent the last weeks, months being educated by faith formation individuals in their parishes. And we have a young woman who entered the church about 5 years ago, right? Alicia Foreman?
It was it was in 2015.
2015.
So
I'm sorry, four
years ago.
Okay. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
Good. And you come from, you are a parishioner at Lady Peace Williamstown.
Yes.
And a student at Stockton?
Yes.
Is studying junior in social work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to come out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
And how are things going during this Holy Week?
I love it. This is one of my favorite weeks in the whole church calendar, just because it just reminds me of like the whole reason of being Catholic and being able to celebrate the masses this week. This week is probably one of the main reasons that I became Catholic. It was a big part in my conversion, being able to go to Holy Thursday Mass and the Vigil Mass and seeing my friends being baptized at the Vigil. Kind of put a spark in me to then continue and learn about the Catholic faith.
What sort of spoke to you and said, you know, this is a path I want? I mean, where were you prior to your conversion?
So, I'll start at the beginning. So, as a baby, I was baptized Catholic, but my parents didn't practice. I grew up in Philly, and then at the age of 5, I moved to Jersey. The only way I knew I loved going to church. The only way I could get to church was going with my family friend at the time, but she was Lutheran, so she was taking me to a Lutheran church. It was the only way I could get to a church, and that was the only transportation I had to one, so I took it. I ended up going to a Lutheran church for a while, started going away from that and trying to find where I felt I was called to, where I felt that I was a part of the family and a part of like a great faith and fully believed in it. So there I went to many different denominations in the Christian faith. I went non-denominational, Baptist, Methodist, again, Lutheran, but there was always a part of me that never felt fully whole in these churches. And it wasn't until my junior year of high school, I went to Williamstown High School in Williamstown, and I was sitting in my anatomy and physiology class in 9th period, February 6th of 2014, and that was the day that The Rock at Williamstown High School started.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I know that program.
Yeah, and it was that club literally changed my life.
Let's take a pause there, and we talked about the Rock once before when we had Carrie on. This was probably one of our first podcasts, actually, back in the day. Can you talk about the Rock a little bit?
So the Rock is a Catholic club at many high schools and middle schools throughout the area now. It started out as a Catholic club at Williamstown High School that a couple of kids in the youth group saw that there was a need for a Catholic club at this public school just to bring their friends into the faith and be able to have a faith club on like a high school campus. So Carrie, hearing the desires from the kids in the youth group that they wanted this club, she answered that call to go and start this club. So it started out February 6th of 2014, and it started at Williamstown High School. Now it's spread to a couple different high schools and Williamstown Middle School, where my little brother actually now participates in it.
Yeah, that makes me very happy because you don't hear about a lot of public schools offering programs for different faiths or faiths at all, as a matter of fact. So the fact that the school, that someone in the school suggested it as a need and then the school agreed, I thought that was absolutely wonderful. When Carrie first told us about that, I was absolutely blown away that was the case. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a need, and I know I'm not the only one that came to the church from that club, so it's a great club, and it's only grown.
Yeah.
I know when it started, it was probably about 20 kids, and now I think it goes up to like 40 kids in the classroom sometimes.
Yeah.
And just in that one school.
Yeah.
It's in quite a few campuses.
So you went through the Rock program, and it brought you closer into your faith, and that's when you started thinking about?
Yeah, so going to the Rock, I met some really cool people that I didn't it's a public school, so you don't really talk about faith too much. So I saw people that I knew and had classes with, and they were like excited to be Catholic and excited to share their faith. And there was actually an event that night, so it was spiritual guidance, which meets every Thursday night for high schoolers, just to go and talk about things that are going on in their life and being able to connect it to things in the church and how the church teaches. So I ended up going there. So at this time, I lived like right down the street from the church, so I could walk. So I walked to the church, and I remember as soon as I walked in, people ran up to me, gave me a hug, said, welcome, like, I'm glad you're here. And it just, at that point, it felt like it was a family, and it felt like a great community. And it was something that I'll always cherish, because I know, like, last semester I lived away from home. I lived at Stockton. And even when I came home for, like, a visit after, like, 3 months, people ran up to me that they missed me, and it's just, like, it was a real family. Like,
yeah. That's what's nice about organizations like that, is you get a real sense of community out of it.
Yeah.
And that's... we the animals that we are at our very core, and like many animals, we thrive in packs, and it's good to be around people where you're like-minded, and you're, particularly when you're like-minded and you're going towards a positive goal, in this case your faith. I think that's outstanding. I love, for those of us who are, for me, I'm basically cradle to eventual grave, a Catholic school kid, right? So I've been in Catholic schools my whole life, and I've never really known anything other than that. So I have this sort of preconceived idea of what it must be like to be in a public school, but I don't really know. I just assume it's there's no faith spoken of at all, and here you are telling me this beautiful story about how strong that faith is, and that even having left it, you're junior in Stockton now, so
yes.
That's 3 years ago you left the program, and that there is still such this great community within that, the greater parish there in Williamstown. That's really great. And then I guess it also is helpful to have someone like Carrie at the lead, right?
Yes,
she's so
amazing.
Dynamic. Usually during these conversion stories, there's a lot of people who sort of influence that conversion. Who was it for you?
It was definitely Carrie. Denise. So as I'm discovering that I actually really love the Catholic faith, and I wanted to become Catholic and fully get all the sacraments of the Catholic faith, I went to RCIT, which is rite of Catholic initiation for teens.
Mm-hmm.
That Our Lady of Peace has, and it's great because it's a bunch of teenagers that want to become Catholic. So we chose it, and Carrie was the teacher at RCIT. And she has helped me so much just learning about my faith, that she's my sponsor. So
that was going to be my question. Was who'd you
I asked
sponsor?
her to be my sponsor for my confirmation.
Yeah.
And then one other person that really helped me out was Jackie Kern.
Oh, sure. We love Jackie.
Jackie is an amazing woman. So the joke at the parish is I call her my church mom, because she's a mother figure to me that is in the church that I can go to, like if I'm having problems with friends or school or anything that's going on. I know I can go to Jackie and talk about it, and she gives me the motherly advice.
Yeah.
Carrie's more of my like sister, and then Jackie's like my mom.
That is a good 1-2 punch right there. You can't, and that also shows the power of, having really good parish and school people, available in the wider parish, the entire community, that can really help someone who's you were there with a need, and that need was nourished by, or fed rather, by Carrie and Jackie. I think I love hearing stories like that. It's, whenever we do things in the greater diocese, it's always within this entire podcast. Actually, the real genesis of it was being able to spotlight people in the parishes who are really doing good work, not because of their vanity are we spotlighting them, but we're spotlighting them because we hope other parishes and other DREs and youth ministers and staff people and advancement directors, hear about this great work and what it can accomplish. In this case, bringing a wonderful and enthusiastic young Catholic woman fully back into the faith. I think that's outstanding. That gives me a spring in my step,
Yeah, it was so great. Like, before I was Catholic, I was on track to be like a business major.
Yeah.
I was taking all business classes in high school. I was ready to be an accountant. And then I was given opportunities to go to like somewhere in the city, which is like a diocesan run youth camp for high schoolers to go and serve areas of need, which is like, I started in Atlantic City, and I know it's spread throughout different areas in the South Jersey, in the Camden Diocese.
Yeah.
But that's something that I hold so dearly in my heart that I go back every year and help out.
That's great.
And I know that, of course, Greg Coogan's been a big part of everything.
Another example of a good apostle of the faith.
Yeah. Just him welcoming me to Summer in the City. I think Summer in the City lit the spark of me changing everything, because as you heard in the beginning of the podcast, I'm a social work major now.
Yeah.
Doing Summer in the City definitely made my heart open to serving others and realizing that other people need me more than I would be of help in accounting or a business field.
Yeah.
That social work is definitely something that there's a need for, and that being a Catholic and having the Catholic social teaching definitely helps in the social work.
And finding that vocation at such a young age, particularly through a program like Summer in the City, I mean, that's very influential. I think, obviously anybody who goes through any of the programs, it's up to them to what they sort of decide. And hopefully if you had gone into the business world, you still would have brought that vocation of social service with you. And, having spent most of my life in the business world, in the business world, the places I gravitated towards were people who were business people, but understood the responsibility of a good business person to support the community. Right. I worked for corporate law firms for a long time, and some of these high-priced attorneys, the stuff they did out of their personal life as their avocation, one guy did incredible work he helped prison inmates learn to work in the veterinary world they had these dog programs where they were literally they would live with dogs, or not live with dogs, but they would have dogs brought in, and they became dog counselors, for another word for it. But it was all to bring them to a back to work program where they could work in the veterinary industry and then have a job when they left work. And here was this high priced attorney who worked in the aviation field, and this was what he decided as his avocation. And it was incredible, and they have great stories, and he was able to raise a lot of money for him, which is what you would expect a corporate attorney to do. But he also spent a ton of time with him. He knew it inside and out. It wasn't just lip service for him. So, I have a lot of social worker friends. That is not an easy industry to get into, or it's an easy industry to get into. It's not an easy industry to thrive in. Right. So the fact that you're making that effort to it, because there is so much need in the world, as someone who has felt need yourself, knowing that you're going to be able to service someone else's need, right. That's outstanding. That really is. You should be very proud of yourself about that.
Thank you. Yeah. The diocese really, just becoming Catholic, just really like opened my heart to everything and like made me like see things through a different lens, like see the world through a different lens. Growing up, you always hear like the negative things about Catholics, but you never hear like any of the good things. Growing up, my own parents, it was like Catholics only want money, but the money that we get goes to help in Catholic charities and to serve the people in our communities. So people see one eye, and I was able to be open to everything that's so amazing about the Catholic faith.
So so you've done the Rock and you've done Summer in the City, and now that you're in college, you go back and you help out at Summer in the City, but are you doing other things that foster your faith?
So I was given the opportunity to go on the Share the Journey pilgrimages down to the South Texas-Mexico border. I was able to do that twice, and that also changed my way of thinking. So I was a social work major, but I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in social work. There's so many different things you can do. Yeah. So Share the Journey, we were able to work with immigrants and seeing life on the border of Mexico and Texas, and just being able to help these people who are like escaping like terrible predicaments back in their home countries. It really opened my eyes up. So now my whole major is focused on immigration and refugee management and reform, which is something that I feel so strongly about, which is why I keep going on these trips down to Texas. And that program's just amazing. I know they keep sending people down. And I was one of the first people that were able to go down. They sent Stockton and Rowan students down back last March, so March of 2018, and then back again in January of 2019. And I was able to go on both of them, which is unbelievably life-changing to go on these.
And you said you even want to go down again, right?
Yeah. Hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to go next year when they send down college kids again.
I tell you, I haven't had a chance to. We've had so many of the people who have been on the Share the Journey events on the podcast. We've talked to Mr. Hickey about it. We've had Sister Norma Pimentel on. It's great, and I still think there are not enough people who know about this great opportunity to go down to the Texas-Mexico border and really, get to experience what life is really like down there. It's such an incredible experience. So the fact that you've gone twice and you want to go back again, that's unbelievable. I'm just curious, when you went, any of the times you went down, were any of the times during the really rough summer heat?
Yeah, so March, my first time going down, I'll be completely honest, I went down because I knew it was going to be warm and it was cold up here. That was one of the reasons. That makes sense. And I went down, it was probably 90 degrees down there, and it's only March, so it only gets worse over the summer. Yeah. But I mean, I want to move down to Texas.
Hey, listen.
Working with the immigrants down there, but yeah, I was down there in the heat. It was great.
I'm sure Sister Norma would love to have you down there full time.
I love Sister. She's amazing.
I love the fact that you're able to speak so casually about having spent time with Sister Norma. She's really an icon of that area, and the fact that you were able to sort of develop, not that you're best friends or anything like that, but that you were able to develop this sort of like relationship with her. I think that's wonderful.
Maybe they are best friends.
You know what? That's right. I shouldn't have assumed. Are you best friends with Sister Norma?
No, I wish, but it was funny. When we were down there in January, it was during Migration Week. So we were working at the Respite Center, which Sister Norma helped create down in the Texas McAllen area. And every day there was reporters there trying to talk to her. Yeah. Every day, like 5 or 6 reporters today, everything. Different news outlets from Germany, other countries even came to speak to Sister.
Were you down there when that was when President Trump was in there? Oh yeah, that must have been a very interesting experience. And
a lot of my friends, so because like the Catholic faith is so united, like Catholic means like universal church. So the fact that like the people I met down there, I still talk to on a daily basis.
Really?
We were able to go to the University of Texas in the Rio Grande Valley and go to the Newman Center, since there was a bunch of Newman kids going down. And just having those connections and realizing, like, we're no different.
Yeah.
We're all, like, college kids. We all have the same problems. But to hear their stories about living so close to the border really opened my eyes. And, I mean, I still talk to them. My one friend, Jalen, I call her my Texas sister because we literally talk all the time. And then other kids we met at different, like, youth groups and stuff. We were able to go to and see, like, where they live. Some of them live literally on the Rio Grande River. We were able to go to one of the ranches and literally walk to the river and see, like, on the other side, Mexico, and hear the stories about people that were crossing and were able to see them and how that affected them. But it was so amazing to see the people down there. They're so wonderful and happy. They just want to share everything with us. So the culture down there is amazing. And because we have the faith of Catholicism, we can totally relate to each other and be able to share our faith and everything. It was really amazing experience.
I think that's wonderful that you've consistently found these communities of people that you can feed off of, but also be a part of, you know?
I think too, you know, you talked earlier about when you became Catholic, you opened your heart to things. Even before that, it sounds like you really immersed yourself in this, in the life. You had that curiosity. And like Mike was talking about how he suspects he'll be a Catholic from cradle to grave. I believe the same for me. You know, it's just very interesting to get that perspective. Growing up Catholic, I was raised, went to Catholic school my whole life. But I'm in awe and very impressed by people like you and like others I've talked to throughout the years who decide to make that decision to really, this is for me. I want to be a Catholic. I want to live my life for Christ. And was there kind of, for lack of a better term, like a St. Paul moment for you where you kind of got thrown off the horse where you realized, you know, maybe you didn't, not really thrown off the horse, but, you know, was there an epiphany of some sort where, was it stuff from the rock? Was it conversations with Carrie? What clicked? Was there a moment, or was it just a series of moments?
I think there was definitely a series of moments. I think one thing that really stood out in my whole conversion and coming back to the faith, my parish is really big in the Betania Foundation, which is
with Maria Esperanza, Servant of God.
Yeah, Servant of God, Maria Esperanza, and just learning about her and her story and Venezuela, and then finally being able to meet the family and just knowing, like, meeting them and learning the story. I grew up not having the best relationship with both of my parents. I'm always really close to both of them, but together, different struggles and tribulations that I'm sure other people go through as well. But as the time I was coming into my conversion, I wasn't really talking to my father. I kind of felt betrayed by him. So learning about Maria Esperanza and how she stood for unity in the family and all of her stories that she, what her life was about, and learning about that and eventually praying to her and being able to have a great relationship with my father again. I think Maria Esperanza is definitely someone that her whole family says that she always wants spiritual grandchildren, and you can always ask her to be your spiritual grandmother. And I definitely feel that she's a spiritual grandmother for me. She's just amazing, and I'm so blessed to be able to be close to her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, and it's just something that I'm so blessed for. And I think seeing their witness and seeing how they live out the Catholic faith, especially Carrie and Jackie and Father Maz and all, they all help form me into who I am. But definitely learning about the whole Betania Foundation and stuff definitely opened my eyes to it.
I heard her, Maria Esperanza's daughter, Koromoto, is that her name?
Koromoto, yeah.
Koromoto speak at the Collegium Center for Faith and Culture, because Father Tim Byerly is the vice postulator for the canonization cause, and she was a mystic who she lived in Venezuela, but she died in New Jersey.
Yeah, in
South Jersey.
Long Beach Island.
Yes, one of my favorite places. God willing, I will die there too. But that's beautiful. And you still have those Britannia groups with Carrie?
Yeah. So they meet every Thursday night. So unfortunately, this semester I have classes Thursday nights. But even when I'm off or like classes canceled or something, I know like I'll go to Britannia and it's just like picking up where I left off. And it's so amazing to have like this wonderful group of people. Like I said, I'm really close to Maria Esperanza's grandkids, like Vanessa, who actually just moved back to Jersey for a little while. And like I could text her and we'll meet up and hang out, and just like that's one of my close friends that I know I can turn to for anything. So I'm very blessed and lucky to be in the parish that I'm in, and the diocese that I'm in. It's definitely a vibrant and alive parish and diocese.
We're blessed and lucky to have you here and sharing your witness. And Mike, I think we should probably...
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to make this a short episode this week because I have to go run to a meeting. But sorry about that. I apologize. Okay. Usually we go on and on and on and on, but we're got a short one today, unfortunately.
This is not goodbye. This is only until...
Yeah, especially knowing that you're involved in so much work that we actually feature on a regular basis. I mean, we were down with the Summer and the City Kids in Atlantic City in August of last year, and we always have the Share the Journey folks on. So I am sure this is not the last time that we will cross paths with you.
Absolutely not.
But we always tell people, we have a great newspaper. So the next time you go down, feel free to write a reflection and send it in.
Definitely.
We'll look into publishing it. But yeah, and that's, we also tell people those who go down on the Share the Journey campaign, there is an expectation, which sounds like you're doing it, of spreading the good word when you get back, and what did you actually see, and so people can make, informed decisions when they think about what's going on at the border.
Right, and I know there's other groups going down that they're looking to fill spots too. So a little plug.
That's right.
If anyone's looking, there's
you can
a couple.
Go to the Catholic Charities Camden.org website, and look up Share the Journey, and you will be able to find more information about the Share the Journey program. Or feel free to bedevil our frequent podcast guest and semi-co-host every now and again, Mary McCusker. And
love Mary. She was with me last time I went down.
She's the best. And but she's got all the answers for the Share the Journey campaign too. So you're always able to reach out to mary.mccusker@camdendiocese.org.
And that's 856-342-8846, right?
Yep, there you go. Or not. I actually have no idea. I'm saying yes, but I have no idea if that's her phone number.
I know the extension is 8846. I think the three numbers are different from our three numbers in this building.
Mm-hmm.
Diocese, yeah. It's wish they were all the same, but anyway.
Right.
But we love you, Mary.
But it's not your fault that the phone system is kind of weird.
No.
It's not weird. I mean, those three digits are for each building. We have three different buildings, so that's why that's why it's like that. But anyway, thank you very much for coming in and spending a little more, about 40 minutes with us today. We really appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being so enthusiastic about your faith. I mean, more than anything else, I think in this day and age, I am very appreciative for Catholics who are so happy to live their faith publicly and energetically.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Pete, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. And Alicia, Mike, happy Easter and happy Easter. Hope all of you are doing well, and all the best to you and your families during the season. God bless.
That's right.